Hello, my name is Grian, and today I'm going to be transforming a jungle Wait. Hold on a minute. How on earth am I meant to transform this? It's just a cobblestone turd in the middle of the jungle. A vanilla village? No problem. Desert temple? Fine. Jungle temple? What am I supposed to do here? Okay, let's see what we can do and transform this into something. So the first thing I'm going to do, just for the purposes of this video, is clear out all of the junk around the temple so you can actually see what I'm doing, and remove that bottom layer because I want to use it, and naturally this was spawned a little bit in the ground. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now, I wasn't quite sure immediately what to do, so I started playing around with a few things before deciding that those little pillars on the top would make actual frames if I extended them upwards. So that's the first thing I did. Next, once I had done that, I kind of stood back for a little bit, decided, I don't really know where I'm going yet. I'm just going to keep trying out a few different frames, see where I'm going to go with this, and I decided that on the four corners I was going to add another frame and create a box around the temple itself. And once I'd created that simple frame, I decided I really need some camera room to maneuver around this build, so I just deleted all of the jungle trees around me because I really am feeling claustrophobic. Obviously, I don't expect you to do this if you try this, but it's just for the purposes of this video. So next, I decided at the top, I want to try and keep a temple-y feel, so I'm like making this little shrine at the top, and I'm just adding a quick roof with an overhang, which I did show in my roof tutorial, so hopefully this will all look a bit familiar to you. And then I just finish up the roof using half slab, and I'm going for a very odd palette here. I'm going for cobble, spruce, and then spruce log, which doesn't particularly fit in a jungle, some of you might say, but again, it's up to you what you do with your palette and with your interior. That's not my job, that's yours. Next, I decide that I need to fix up my frame all the way around the build, so I kind of just highlight the temple itself within the box frame at the bottom, but I'm still not quite sure where I'm taking this build yet. What I do know is what I want to do next, which is the roof on top of that box. I'm going for a very shallow roof, so I'm going to be using a cobble overhang just like I did at the shrine thing at the top, and I'm just going to make sure that the longest length has an overriding arch as well as the sides, because it creates a really nice shape on a build like this which is entirely square. And I also edit the frame to compensate that arch. After I've done that, I then decide I don't want the bottom anymore, so I go round the edge, skirting in those two blocks that run all the way around, so it seems like the jungle house is a bit more floaty. I just need to move this part of the frame outward because I plan on actually adding a balcony here around my sort of shrine at the top, and it was a little bit too close, so I just moved those out diagonally one block each. And then I decide I need to finish the roof that I started earlier. I only did two sides, so I just replicate the other two on these other two sides and compensate with the frame again to match that arch. And while I'm here, I'm just going to edit that frame to have a bit nicer of an arch using dark oak stairs, which matches spruce quite nicely. And now I've done that, I actually need to go and do the roof of my main house, and although this is going to go fairly quickly, the technique is very simple. All I'm doing is using spruce half slab and placing the block half a block above my cobblestone overhang, and I'm just matching that all the way up half a step at a time. And it's going to take me a little while to work my way around, but it is essentially the same all the way around the build, just trying to match it up. If the sides don't interlock very well, you may notice very slightly that the two sides aren't symmetrical. That's fine, because when I finally finish, I'm actually going to rough it up a bit like I normally do, just adding slabs everywhere to give it a really rough texture. Lots of people don't like doing this, and it's up to you whether you want to keep it clean or rough it up like I did. And now I'm moving on to the balcony, which is very simple. I'm just using oak slab and working my way around, connecting those frames that we rose up right at the start of the build, so now they have a purpose. And once I've done that, I then take a fence block of my choice. I chose spruce just so it matched the roof, and worked that all the way between the pillars. And now that's done, the balcony is complete, fairly simple. I need to decide what I want to do with my shrine at the top. I decided that I wanted to have a symbol on it, so I completely filled it with stone, and then knocked in a nice shape with a golden block in the middle. Now that I look back on it, I don't actually like what I did. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad, I'm just saying that I could have done way better. I would have actually maybe put a gong hanging down from that bit because it matches like the jungle style a bit better, but again, it's up to you what you do with this sort of creative process. And now we're moving on to the actual walls of our build. So I start off by first laying out where I want the front door to be, and I give a very simple but kind of elegant walkway up to the door itself. And I decorate it either side with this odd arrangement of stairs which I kind of made up on the spot. I then add some doors and get to work on the walls themselves. The cobble, although is very iconic of the jungle temple, is not really gonna match too well with all the blocks that I've been using, and in general a cobblestone wall with the cobblestone overhang isn't gonna match. You need a bit of variety, so I added some stone brick in there just to sort of spice it up a little bit, just so it wasn't all cobble. But I'm really trying to keep what was iconic about the jungle temple, just so you feel like you actually transformed it and you're not just building a house from scratch. So I just add some very simple windows, some very simple detailing, all using just 1 block wide stuff, windows, etc. On this side, I decided to add a flower pot as I normally do, just to give that bit of green contrast, although that's not very needed in a jungle. And then again, go around the back and I just copy paste this wall actually, just to save a little bit of time. But essentially it is exactly the same thing. And I do add that dark oak staircase in the corners to give it a little bit more shape. And then I move round to the final wall, where I'm actually going to add a small balcony. If you remember from my 5 ways to improve your house, adding shape is a really easy way to improve any build. And I do this just by adding a very simple square onto the side of my house, add the fence block, and then detail the sides of the walls as I did with every other side, including those oak wood staircases. And once you've done that, that's it, it's kind of finished. That's what I came up with when transforming a jungle temple. And if you remember what it looked like to begin with, there wasn't a lot to work with. I have kind of, quote, polished this turd, but I did find that although this looked okay, I may have made a small mistake by adding all that junk on the top. So I'm just going to show you what it looked like ignoring all that bit on the top. So I go up there and I just delete all of the stuff on the top and replace any holes in the roof. Because what you can do is just turn this jungle temple into a jungle house itself and have a very simple sort of turtle shell home. I actually ended up preferring it like that way, and that's what I want to showcase you in the end, but I thought I'd add that little shrine on the top just in case you really wanted a temple style. I really didn't know where I was going with this. The intro I made really sums up how I felt about this. This was a really tough video to make, and if you enjoyed this, let me know. If you have any more suggestions, also let me know in the comments, because this was a suggestion by you. After I did my desert temple one, everyone was like, yo, you should do a jungle temple one. And I didn't even know that these existed. That's how out of touch I am with vanilla Minecraft. So thank you very much for letting me know about that, and also thank you very much for watching. Goodbye!